Hey everybody, welcome to the Jim Masters Show. And my next guest is an Emmy-nominated filmmaker, actor, writer, producer, director. He's worked on some of your favorite productions, and he's got some new exciting ones to share. And there he is, Mike Mayhall, joining us. Hey, Mike, welcome to the show, my friend. It's a pleasure to have you here with us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I really liked the opening. That was really great. I liked it a lot.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We had an older opening years ago and said time for an update. So we've had this one. I think it's almost 2.5, 3 years now. And it was really cool because a friend of mine is an animator in the New York area. And I said to him, we want to update the open. So what do you got? And he said, well, retro is in right now. So let me create a retro design and logo and everything. So he started with that. And then I said, well, is there any way that we can make it jump out of the screen, right at you? He says, well, I'm an illustrator. I can design the logo. I can do all of this. Because at that time, he was working on Betty Boop, which he's worked on for years. And he was working on a cover of an album for Aerosmith. And so he's a really, talented guy that's done it for years. And so he said, I'm an illustrator. I can design the logos and everything. But as far as it moving and animating, I'm not an animator. But my daughter is, and she's doing work with The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Let me talk to her and see if she can take my design and make it come to life. So the first part where you see the sketching and all that, that's actually his hand. The giveaway, people think it's me. The giveaway is I'm left-handed. And that guy is doing it with his right hand. So he's actually sketching. That's the kind of work he does. He made that. He actually sent us that too, that the Jim Master Show with the genie bottle and all that. So I have that. And that was a separate piece for something totally unrelated. It wasn't really made for the open, but I liked it so much. I said, hey, is there a way we can take that video you did where you did that sketch and we can tie it with the logo and have the logo pop out of the screen. And then we will take a look at theme music, music that matches, the flow of that animation and all, and illustration. And it all came together. And he gave me the friends and family discount, which didn't require, redoing a mortgage or anything, and which was very good of him. And there it is, and it's kind of cool,
Yeah, it's great.
I like intros. I know we're living in a world where they say, oh, don't do an intro. You got to get right into it because people are impatient or they don't have time or they want you right into it. But I still like an intro. I think a good intro just sets the tone. Like working in TV, I'm so used to shows that have intros and a build up and films that have film scores that really add to the flavor of what it is we're about to see. And you're in that world, so you get it, right?
I do. I like it. It depends. Like that intro, it kept your attention. It flowed and it was telling a little story and building all together, and it wasn't long. And then we're just right into it right after that. So I like just what you said. I think if it tells the story and kind of brings you into the world, I'm all for it.
Absolutely. Exactly. Now are you in Louisiana right now?
Yeah, I'm in a little town called Mandeville, Louisiana, which is just outside of New Orleans, Louisiana. North of that, maybe 30 miles or so north of New Orleans.
So is that heading towards Baton Rouge? Or
no, so if you look at New Orleans, I'm directly north of New Orleans. Baton Rouge is west
towards the left, right, the west. So you're on the other side of Lake Pontchartrain.
Yep.
The north.
Yeah, you're familiar with it. You're Baton Rouge, yeah, okay.
Yeah, we have family that's in that area, absolutely, and and they come up here in the north and visit, and they tell us all the stories of all the food and the gumbo and all the different. So you hail from that area?
I do, born and raised.
So, New Orleans is a great, vibrant place. For you, what was some of the inspiration that sort of, pointed you in the direction of wanting to get into filmmaking? You're an actor. You've been in a lot of different things people would recognize, as well as independent projects, and you're a director and you're making the magic. Growing up in the small town of Louisiana, were you watching a lot of TV, a lot of movies? Are there other people in the family that were doing it? How did it kick off for you, Mike?
That's such a great question. In many ways, I'm sort of the black sheep of the family. Like my family on my father's side were lawyers and businessmen. Like my father and his brothers and sisters, they were the first, generation in his side of the family to go to college. And on my mom's side, and the other side is my grandmother was in home, and grandfather, they built houses, they were in construction, and that whole side of the family were like these entrepreneurs. They kind of built themselves up from nothing. So everything they had, they went out and fought for. And then along comes myself, my brother, who's a musician, and like this first generation of kids, and we're all artists. We're all of us, one way or another, pick the arts. I got into it. I think it was a combination of, I grew up in a little town where I'm sitting right now, Mandeville, and it was sort of a one stoplight town. I was the quintessential 80s kid, latchkey kid. So I didn't have anything but my imagination. I'd come home from school, and all of my buddies, everybody in the neighborhood would get together, and we would just go play and invent stories and invent scenarios in our head that we were doing. And then when the streetlights came on, we had to go home. And I can remember watching television, and I'm reaching way back here, and not understanding, like, I knew it was a movie, I knew it was a TV show, but I didn't understand what television movies were, and I was like, I didn't know what it was, but I just knew that I wanted to do that. You know what I'm saying? Just wanted to be on the TV. Yeah. And I eventually got into theater for a local community theater. I didn't even know what theater really was. I was just like, well, let me try that. That seems like the right choice, and I liked it. Then I started, I did an AV club, an elective in high school. Really liked that. Like my high school was really, really tiny, but it had like a closed circuit, a CCTV for all of the classrooms. And one day, one of the teachers, they had created this AV elective AV club, and we were supposed to do morning announcements, and any other announcements all came through that. And I said, well, I want to do the entertainment portion of the AV club. And they were like, Mike, there is no entertainment section of the. I said, well, I want to create the entertainment section. I'm going to make little videos that are funny, and we're going to all put them together and figure it out. And we were learning equipment. We were learning these little cameras, learning, we would edit from one VHS tape to the next. It was a stop and start sort of process. There's nothing sophisticated looking back going on. And then I got into theater from there and ended up in college doing theater. And it was just, I just never looked back. I just kept going.
You knew you wanted to do this work, and you got involved in the stunt part of things too, right? And involved in like sword fighting and all kinds of cool things.
Oh yeah, we are. Yeah, I forgot to remember what that project was. I don't think it ever made it out. Yeah, I got into sword fighting. That I was in college at Northwestern State University in Natchitoches, Louisiana. It was this amazing theater program that was run like an professional equity house. A lot of my instructors had come from Broadway, somehow made it down to this nowhere town. But one day, a teacher he was just there for like a semester or two, and he taught stage combat. And I had no idea what that was. It's just, I didn't even know it existed. He taught rapier and dagger and broadsword fighting and quarterstaff fighting and hand-to-hand fighting, all for the stage. And I just fell in love with it. I was like, this is awesome. This is amazing. And I just kept trying to find places to do it. I did a summer stock that taught it even more in depth. And after I graduated, I took all those skills down to Orlando, Florida. And Orlando had a bunch of big like live shows. If you've ever been to like Universal or Disney, you get the Indiana Jones show and Fantasmic. And at the time they had the Sinbad stunt show. And so I had all the right skill set. I could act, I could perform, I could do improv, and I had this like sword fighting stunt background that I was building on. And Orlando was great. It was just like it was a theme park, but it was just a huge, fun, amazing time where anything I could try to learn, I would. More stunts, more acting. I did traditional theater down there. But the sword fighting was great. It's what I love to do. That was my niche into the actual stunt world. Of my first professional stunt on camera on a TV show, I think it was called Stuck in the Suburbs. I'm reaching really way back to my old ancient memory. First time on set was like 2003, 2004, maybe, like officially on SAG. And that's when I did my first stunt and just never really looked back. Just loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I'm rambling on and on and on.
No, it's great.
Old memories, you know, I don't want to age myself too badly, but
part of the trajectory. Yeah, no. No, an old soul, you know, that's what it is, which is a good thing to be. I am one too. It's a really good thing. When you said you were going to go into this world of film and you want to jump into that TV and be a part of the world of TV, I understand that, working in it myself. I wanted to get in there and be on those sets and, you know, hang out with the Brady kids and all that. And it it's fascinating. It maybe it grabs you really early, you know what I mean? It makes you want to. Some kids wanted to live on Sesame Street, some wanted to live with inside Mr. Rogers' neighborhood with the trolley. I mean, television is very, very powerful, and when you're younger, you just want to be a part of it. You sort of seek it out. But when you said to the family, "I'm not going to be the lawyer. I'm not going to be in the construction world. I'm going in this world," what was that response?
Kind of a collectively, they just kind of went, they didn't know what to do. I don't think they were expecting it at all. Maybe they weren't really surprised because I always had a really active imagination. My dad was like, whatever you want to do, yes, go for it. My mom she will say she was like super supportive, but it was sort of like, I kind of got the feeling of, well, okay, are you sure you want to do this? Is this like what you really want to do? And for years and years and years, it sort of felt like that, that she was supportive, but I guess she was just being a mama bear, you know. She was just like, you know, you can do anything else you want to do. I'm like, yeah, I know. This is it. This is where I'm at. So like, one day I finally had to have that conversation with her. I think I was living in Florida. I was working professionally as a professional actor, and I was like, this is it. So like, you can either get on board and support, or you can not, but don't stop discouraging me from this line of work. Like we had to have like one of those. It was kind of a tougher conversation because I'm the kid, she's the mom, But I think when she saw that, when she heard that, she was like, okay, absolutely, I'm on board. Team television and movies, let's do it. How do we do it? So they're my biggest fans, 100%. But it was a weird adjustment period because for mom, I think, because I guess she just knew that how hard this industry is, and you know how hard this is. It's an unforgiving business, right? It doesn't really care what you just did. It wants to know what you're doing next, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's 24/7 these days. It used to be, TV stations used to sign off with the national anthem at 2 a.m. Everything is 24/7 now, and cell phones and social media, and it's constant.
Constantly going. Did you know from a young age this is where you wanted to be, or did you find yourself here gradually? How did you get into this? I know we're talking about all things. I'm just really curious. You've been doing it for such a long time.
I was the kid that was running around with the little tape recorder and interviewing the relatives. And we did plays, and my sister and I and a bunch of us did plays in the garage, in the backyard with all the neighborhood kids. I was always aware of like all the people that were on TV. I knew all the call letters to the TV stations and the radio stations, and used to love all the jingles and the commercials, and and just really fell in love with it. And at first, I wasn't necessarily going to do the on camera, the hosting, and that's what everything's become. The TV radio personality and everything on camera as a host and all. I always loved, and I still do it. I always loved the staff announcers, the people that worked at the networks who would say, "This is CBS." when I would hear that, I'm like, oh, God, it is. It's like God talking. You know, I used to love to hear the network announcers, the TV station announcers say,
Okay.
this is Channel 2, New Orleans, or, you know, Channel 5, New York. I used to mimic all of that. And so staff announcing and being the announcer, the voice of the station. Through the years, I've had those opportunities, which has been great at some TV stations where I was the voice of the station or working on radio as well. But then got opportunities to get into the on-camera part early on at a TV station I was working at, and get into news and hosting, you know, telethons and doing commercials. And I was starting to like it, and people were responding, and then started hosting shows and, you know, PBS and all these different things. And just, it's morphed mainly into the on-camera work with voice work, narration, and announcing and stuff like that as part of it. But yeah, it was something that I did always enjoy. The other thing, there was another half. I love architecture and design. So I studied part of that, mechanical drawing and things like that as well. So when I do go to a city, I look at all of the skyscrapers, I look at the bridges, I look at everything. And so if I was in New Orleans, I'd be looking at the skyline and all of that. And it's something that, you know, the creative bug is definitely there. Somehow it ended up with television. Worked at a lot of radio stations, TV stations, studied it in school, got the degree,
Right.
you know, interned in New York, you know, at a television network, all of that stuff. Yeah. And I've been with it ever since.
That's great.
And I don't have any ulcers.
No. Good for you. Good for you.
A lot of people do. What's really amazing is, you know, when you have fellow college mates, friends, buddies in school, when you're going to college and you're learning your craft, and they're all talking about how they're going to be stars in the industry, and I'm going to be, and some of them aren't even in it. They lasted 6 months somewhere, and now they couldn't handle what, like you just said, it entails, where there's nothing, you know, you don't always have weekends off. You don't always have holidays.
No.
If you got to get on a plane and fly to Houston or to, you know, Edmonton, then you have to do that, whatever it is. Like even like today, I was saying, you know, I was on the radio 4 times today, and then we had other episodes of this series, and then I had to write scripts and TV stuff, and that's how it is.
It is. It's a love-hate thing, right? Well, for me, at least, you know, it never stops. So in that sense, it's always exciting. It's always the potential for something coming right down the corner. And if you're creative, your mind never stops going. So I love to write, so I'm always writing something, even if it's not necessarily going to be shown, or I don't necessarily have a destination for it. I just have to create something. I have to write. I have these stories in my head, I have these characters in my head, and I want to put their voices down. So it not only for myself does it just keep constantly going. It's always demanding. It's always demanding and needs something from you.
So how do you sleep? How do you rest? What do you do to de-amp?
I arm wrestle sleep, and hopefully I win. I just wrestle it to the ground. Usually I've gotten better as I've gotten older, to just sort of try to cut it off at some point in time, creatively. Like I have to put the script down, unless I'm really flowing, and then I'll just keep going. Otherwise I'll work on a script till 2 or 3 in the morning, or I'll work on an edit for a project till 2 or 3 in the morning. And I just realized it was killing me to do that, because it made the next day harder when I wanted to get up and wanted my mind fresh. So I had to cut it off, you know, and it was hard. It was really hard to do, because, you know, I have a creative drive and I got a pretty good work ethic. So I just want to constantly work and constantly keep going forward. But I had to make that decision. No more script writing, or today I'm just setting the pin down so I can just relax for a little bit. I may work on something else, another project, or just something around the house, but just give my brain like some time off so I can then jump back into it.
That's what you need to do. What came first for you, the acting or, you know, the directing, the filmmaking? Because you've had an opportunity to, you know, be a part of really all of it. And that's a cool shot there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
indie show there. Not the best, but a nice photo.
It looks like you're on NCIS or something.
It almost was, right? Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a little Western that I did a couple of years ago. This was, oh gosh, what was it? It was, I can't remember it because I tried to forget it because I wasn't my best work. It was when I was just starting to get into like the directing and things like that, and act and direct, and it was not. I learned a lot more from my mistakes from that show.
A good thing, which is
very valuable than anything else. But what came first to me was the acting. I loved to perform. I still love to perform. If I could perform tomorrow, I would. I just absolutely love it. I just loved being up on stage. That connection with the audience, and you're doing it right. You can feel them. You breathe together. You laugh together. You're crying together. I just loved that. Loved it. Film, when I was going to college, it was all I was thinking about was theater. Film was such still a foreign concept to me at that point in time. It was something that happened way far away, and I guess I just didn't understand. Not that I didn't understand it, I was more familiar with it. It was just so far away. I was still in Louisiana. That was out in Hollywood where the movies were made. And since my theater was so, Broadway sort of focused, it was all about trying to get to New York and to do Broadway. But I had a slight problem in that I couldn't sing and I couldn't dance. And Broadway was
pretty much that, right?
Musicals. So I had to figure out something else.
It won't be in the remake of The Wiz, or they do Grease again, right?
Yeah, I'll just be the 17th chorus person in the background, barely moving. I always loved directing, and I always loved storytelling. And I'm trying to think that even in high school, we would have to do one-act plays, and I would write a one-act play, and I would direct the one-act play. In college was no different. College, I studied all sorts of types of creative writing through the theater and through the English department, and playwriting, and then took directing my last year and a half there for the stage, and I just loved it. But my path sort of wandered a little bit. I did acting and then the stunt shows at Universal, and got into stunts for a long time for film and television. But even doing stunts, was an active choice to work in the industry and be on set all the time. I knew that my education was lacking in that sense because I didn't go to a formal film school, but I figured if I could be on set, I could watch the camera guys work, I could watch the grips, the gaffers, and most importantly, I could watch the director and the actor. And just, so if I wasn't busy rehearsing a stunt or having to be with the actor that I was doubling, I was watching and learning. And if I could talk with the director about why they shot or what's going on, and sometimes they were really just open to it. They were happy to talk and see what's going on. Or you just sort of stand in the video village and you start picking up what they're doing and why they're framing this shot and why they're going to this lens. It was just my own film school, and every day was just something new and something exciting. And in 2012, after living in Los Angeles for a couple of years, I came back home to Louisiana to help my mom through a shoulder surgery. She had to have like a rotator cuff, and the doc said she would be out for 6 months. It was a really terrible tear and surgery. But when I came back from LA was just, there was a writer's strike going on in LA and nobody was working. But New Orleans was like this film oasis. All like Hollywood was in New Orleans. And I never stopped working when I got back. I mean, I was on set almost every day working down. And in 2012, I made my first feature film called Jake's Road, which is on, I think it's on Tubi. Jake's Road. We had to change the name to Death Hunt. Jesus, to Death Hunt. But it was a horror thriller.
But it was its first, right? Jake's Road.
Oh, there you go, right there. Yeah, we did great. We won all sorts of awards. It got lots of great reviews, and I was really, really proud of it. So that can tell you sort of like, I moved back in Louisiana in 2010, did 2 short films, and then jumped right into a feature film. And that was because I was just learning so quickly, and I wanted to apply it, and I did. And after that, I was like, all I want to do independent film. I want to direct and I want to write. And it it was kind of a slow climb to get where I'm at, but I'm really excited.
Well, it's amazing because you've done a lot. You've appeared in numerous and have directed numerous independent films, including Girls Trip, The Maze Runner, Hot Pursuit, 22 Jump Street. I love that. Project Power with Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Oldboy, and Killing Winston Jones on television. Your credits span hit series such as The Walking Dead, Into the Badlands, Preacher, Claws, NCIS, New Orleans, and Queen of the South. Notice I'm saying New Orleans because you're there.
I'm there. A lot of those New Orleans roles, I don't know if all of I can attribute all those credits to me. I think if you're on IMDb, you might be looking at the wrong Mike Mayhall, but
do you know what we would say up here
yeah.
in the Northeast? New Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans, right?
So
Yeah.
So for you, I'm saying New Orleans.
I
That's
picked up on that. Yeah.
That's the right way to say it, right?
That's the right way. New Orleans. That's right. New Orleans. And also because you said you got Baton Rouge and you called Lake Pontchartrain, and no one has heard of Lake Pontchartrain unless you've been on Lake Pontchartrain.
Lafayette.
Lafayette. There you go.
Yeah, sure. Go. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jimmy Swaggart. They're there.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. I've been really fortunate to be a part of a lot.
You have been, writing and directing, in addition to the madness of David Judge, which is something really, really exciting. And this is big time stuff. Tell us about this, because this is something that people can catch now.
Yeah, it's happening right now.
Congratulations on this.
Thank you very much. So the madness of David Judge, it came about not too long ago when some friends came to me with a project idea, and they had a rough outline, a rough idea for a script. And after talking with them, I said, I have a different idea. I kind of want to go in a bit of a different direction. So I pinned out what had been floating around in my head for quite a while, and they loved it. And we just all started filming on it. This was during the writer's strike and the actor's strike that happened not too long ago, right? It was like an 18-month, basically hiatus from the film industry for a lot of us down here in New Orleans, where the industry sort of shut down. Not sort of, it did.
When you think it was really something, and you had the pandemic, and then things started coming back, and then the strike, and things stopped. It's really been an interesting time for Hollywood and just for film and entertainment. And there's been a lot of redirection, refocus, mergers and condensing, and just a lot of stuff happening, right?
It's really interesting. A lot of my friends all across the country, they're not really sure what to expect next. A lot of them are who are full-time actors and full-time stunt people are getting different jobs now. The residuals have dried up. There's nothing around them that they seem to be able to film for. And a lot of the studios, they're still making content, but they're going overseas, it appears, more and more. And they're just buying content that's already done and developed from other countries and importing it in, which I guess good for them, really bad for the average working actor. I feel, we see all the celebrities out there, all the people who are famous, who are constantly working and constantly there, and that's good for them. But I don't know how many of sort of the average viewer is aware that, the person to the right or left of that person who just may be on there for a day or two, they're the middleman actor, right? They're the middle class actor. We're just losing work, because you get all the big actors who there aren't projects, so they come down for smaller roles, and everybody just bumps down. And then next thing you know, people who are the day players are trying to work, or who are successfully working as day players, they've got nothing. They're dried up. And in a bad economy, they're all waiting tables again, and they're hurting. It's hurting. The whole industry, I think, is hurting right now.
Yeah, they're looking at Hollywood and saying, what's happening and what are we going to do? And it'll be, it's a different world now. And then there's streaming. That's a whole other side of things. And that got really increased during the pandemic as well. And it's interesting. So tell us about that incredible production that you're very, very proud of.
David Judge. Yeah. So it came about, I think, because of the writer's strike. I could kind of bring it back a little bit. They came to me with the project. I pinned something out, wrote a script, and we had top talent here in Louisiana, cameramen, grips, actors, and we basically just decided we're all gonna work, we're all gonna volunteer our time and create this project together. And that's what we did. It was sort of a question of, we don't have the finances to make a 5-part limited series, but we have the talent and the time now to do it. So that's what we chose. We chose time and talent, and we created something, I think, really, really unique. It looks beautiful. When you see the trailer, if you watch it, The Madness of David Judge, it looks beautiful. It just looks so nice. And the story centers around a gentleman by the name of David Judge, who finds out his wife has had an affair, and he retreats out to his lake house in Slidell, Louisiana, which I think you might be familiar with if you know the area, to work on his novel. And the problems come up when his wife is also his publicist and his agent, so they have to have communication. And it's in between him writing and talking to his wife that odd things start happening. That's when the supernatural starts popping up, and then a mystery develops, and suddenly the whole show is designed from David Judge's point of view, and you start getting lost with him and what is happening and all these strange supernatural occurrences and what is real versus what is not real, as it just sort of just barrels towards like this conclusion, this climax that I don't want to tell you about because I think people are really going to watch it, and I'll talk too much and I'll give it away.
Because you're passionate about it, you're excited.
I want to tell everybody about it because I think it's great. We swept all sorts of awards. You know, where I got Best Director awards from various film festivals here in the States and overseas in London. We got multiple wins and nominations for like Best New Series, Best Web Series, even though we're a television show, but the category was web series. Our Best New TV Show, LA Film Awards, all sorts of things. We just dominated film festivals. It was great. I'm just so proud of it, and I'm like a proud dad.
And it's the production value is incredible too.
Oh yeah,
it's high quality.
Absolutely through the roof production quality. And it's on Tubi. Speaking of easy to watch, it's on Tubi and free. So just go check it out and decide for yourself.
Tubi's great. We watch Tubi all the time. There's new things like this. There's so much vintage material on Tubi. They're doing a great job with that channel.
They really are. It looks like $1 million because if we had the money, that's what it would have cost us. It would have cost us millions of dollars to make this, for our locations and where we filmed and how we filmed and the time we took to make sure each shot, like that shot right there that you're showing right now.
Yeah.
Oh God. And that's our lead actor. His name's Jeremy Sandy. He's just flawless. He's amazing. He deserves an award for how well he did and how beautifully he crafted this character of David Judge. At the heart of the madness of David Judge is a man who has got a broken heart. He loves his wife, he feels betrayed, and he's trying to understand what to do with all these feelings. She's coming at him and saying that she'd like to maybe reconcile, that she regrets her decision, but he's hurt and he's wounded. And I think that's the real human element of this story, and something we can all identify with. We've all, I don't wish it upon anybody, but most of us have probably had a broken heart at one point in time, or we've had that unrequited love. We've all been in a situation like that where we wanted something that we just couldn't have, and it breaks our heart. And that's the core of David Judge, is this broken love story, and how it sort of fractures in real time, and if they can keep it together, or if it's just going to crumble around them. And then stirred up in that is this deep sort of mystery and supernatural happenings that just add to the suspense and the tension that just doesn't really let go of poor David Judge. to the very end.
What was the inspiration for? Where'd the inspiration come from to actually create that?
I think it's part my mad sort of imagination, and
how much of it is you?
There's a lot of me in everything that I write. There's always a piece of me, and it may be sprinkled out through several characters, but there's always a piece of me in there somewhere. I feel like I was working through some of my own demons when I wrote this script. Direction, you think, well, you realize maybe too late that that's not where I wanted to be. The good stuff was over here. I just couldn't see it because I was hurting too bad, or I was in pain, and it not everything works out the way you want it to work out. And sometimes you need to stop fighting the forces that are up against you and just go with it, because maybe that's where you need to be. And I don't mean to sound a little vague, because I'm tripping around a lot of deep plot lines that are happening with David Judge. But so there was a little bit of me working through some stuff. And then as I work through it, I think, well, what would happen if this element was introduced, this supernatural element was introduced? And what would happen if this mystery was introduced? And then the characters take on a life of their own, and then it becomes less about me pounding the story into the keyboards and under the paper, and the characters and I sort of, it sounds really corny, but collaborating and working together to find the end, the climax, the resolution of whatever their journey is going to be.
How long did it take from the germ of the idea to completion? What was that like?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. Probably about 1.5 years, and that's from getting the idea, writing it, going to camera, finishing it, full edit, and then release. And honestly, there was several months of, we were done, but the distribution company, which we got a great distribution company called Buffalo 8. They're this really wonderful company. They wanted to wait for a later release. Like, we could have been released at the beginning of 2025, but I think they wanted to wait until August, which was closer to Halloween, to grab that crowd, because there's a definite, if you like, spooky or scary or intense or something like that, we're probably right in that world for you.
Congratulations on that. Again, Tubi, go check it out. It's really, you're gonna really. Do you see anything coming? Is extending that, or another
series, another? I would love that. I would absolutely love that. We haven't been out for too long, so what we need is the audience to go and find it. And I think when they see it, I think they're going to like it. They're going to go along for the ride. Each episode is about 30 minutes long, so it just clips right along there. I would love to do a part 2 and a part 3. That I envision it as sort of a trilogy to wrap up the whole story and to really get into all the characters and things of that nature. But it'll depend on the audience. And if not, that's okay, because it's got a good punch of an ending.
Right.
So it's got a nice end, but there's definitely room for characters to grow, and there's definitely room for more story. There's always more story to tell. Always. Yeah.
That's why some soap operas are on for 30 years, because they can keep going and sometimes the actor comes back as the evil twin or whatever it is. There's and of course you're involved with this.
Oh, yeah, man. House Divided.
This is like quite a franchise. How did this happen?
Yeah, so that was done with my producing partner, extremely talented writer and producer and director, Dan Garcia. I'm going to back up even just a little bit further. In 2017, he came to me and he said, "Hey man, I'm going to do this show called Bronx SIU. It's about detectives, like a special unit of detectives working up in New York, solving like really gritty cases, and I want you to come co-direct and help me out with it." I said, "All right, cool." But that was season 1, and the season wasn't finished, so I finished writing out the season, and we just went up to New York for several weeks, and not quite guerrilla style, but true indie filmmakers made a television series, and it did really well. We got a second season off of that, which I wrote which I put pen to paper on. That's what got me my first Emmy nomination for Best Director, was the season 2 of Bronx SIU. And from there, that got us a house divided. And Dan, during Bronx SIU, excuse me, it became really clear that Dan was going to produce and I was going to direct. So I became the sole director of Bronx SIU. And when we did A House Divided, it was myself, Dan, and Honesty Edwards. We were the three directors only on this show, and we sort of divided it up by story and plot line, which was a really, really unique way to direct. With Bronx, I was in charge of the entire show. I was in charge of all the stories and all the plot lines. With House Divided, we shared the stories and the characters equally, but it was a really fun, great way to direct. It really wasn't through the cast for a little bit of like, why do I have different directors and on the same day and what's going on here? But it all made sense in the end. And House Divided ran for 5 seasons. It's just great. People just loved it. It was such a dramatic, kind of soap opera-esque show, but it was dark and it was gritty. And yeah, man. Yeah, these people, they were always doing bad things to each other. These characters, 100%.
It's great. Really amazing, right? And to be a part of something like that, fantastic, It
was
absolutely.
Fantastic. Yeah. We've got a spin-off season called Jupiter Jones.
Oh, do you really?
Based off another character. And I don't know if it's been released yet, to be honest with you. It might have been, but I'm waiting to see if we get a second season. I think if we get that out there, I think the audience is going to like it. So it'd be nice to get a second season of that as well.
Really that is so cool. We got some shots of you doing your thing and directing.
Oh, yeah.
Now, he was on our show recently.
Really?
Eric Roberts. Yeah.
Oh, he was great. That was the first film I ever did. Eric Roberts right there.
And his lovely wife, too, was very talented. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, gosh, that was way back when. He was great to work with. We had him. He played one of the lead characters in our show. We only had him for like 2 or 3 days to film with. So we came in and he was just great. He was just great. He showed up and came out to a little bitty town of Folsom, Louisiana, where we filmed, to this cabin in the middle of the woods, and just jumped right in. And he was, man, I can't tell you how great he was. Came with ideas, came with an understanding of the character, the script, and what he needed. And that was us just breaking down one of the final scenes of the show right there. Just some character motivation that was going on. And he was just trying to connect sort of like an A to a B. Because once we got out there and I saw that what he was doing, I wanted to add little moments. That's the creative in me, like, oh, you're doing really good. Let's add this moment. Let's adjust this moment. Let's go back here and tweak this little moment back here so we can get the through line together. So we were doing that constantly through the show, and he was really game because there were some moments and little bits that weren't scripted, but I think he was into it. He saw how well we were working together. He was down for adding little this and little of that to help flesh out the character and his storyline.
Do you ever pinch yourself when you are directing and Eric Roberts and other people? You've had an opportunity to work with a lot of A-list folks.
I do. It's just, I have to take a step back and be like, I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm so lucky. I'm so fortunate. I'm so blessed to be doing this. And not only that, lucky enough to all the projects that I've done to make what I feel are just really good relationships and friendships with everybody. And we just keep trying to find an excuse to work together and to keep going together. And I think that's been the biggest kind of blessing of it all. Like the show David Judge here, it came together because of friends and relationships that I've built through the years, and we all just wanted to work together. You do 5 seasons of a show like A House Divided, and you get to know the cast pretty well, and it's sad that we're not doing it anymore because shows have to end at some point in time, right? You have to move on to the next adventure. But it was great to get to know everybody. It really is. It's sort of like I mean, if I were told 12-year-old Michael, who didn't understand what film and television was, but just knew he wanted to do it and had no idea how to go find it, I would look back and be like, hey man, you're doing that thing you wanted to do. That thing is happening. I wouldn't believe me, not at all.
Well, what did you want to do when you were that younger version of Michael? Did you want to be on set with some of the other characters, or did you want to direct and produce? Like, was there a TV show that or two that you saw you loved and like, oh, I want to live with them
Yeah.
in that house. I want to be in there with them.
Oh yeah, I mean, I wanted to be Indiana Jones. I mean, that's who I wanted to be. You know, I wanted to be Luke Skywalker. I wanted to live those epic fantasy worlds that I saw. I wanted to be Superman. My mom said that when we saw Superman in the theater, she said, you left there thinking that you could fly, and for forever afterwards, she had to stop me from climbing on things and jumping off. Maybe that was the future stuntman in me. So, yeah, I would climb up onto the cabinets. I would climb up onto anything and try to like
get down from that roof.
Get down. I will. She said, don't jump. Don't you climb down. You climb down off that roof.
You're driving me crazy. Between you and the cat, you're both climbing that Christmas tree all the time.
Oh yeah. I just, I wanted to fly, and I wanted to have a lightsaber, and I wanted to, with the Indiana Jones whip.
Were you watching wrestling too?
I didn't get into wrestling until later in life. And in college, my buddies were huge wrestling fans, and I was like, what is this? And so after work, I say work. After we'd have rehearsal on Thursday night for whatever, we'd come home and catch like the rerun of it was like Thursday night SmackDown or whatever it was on show. We would watch the Hulk Hogan's and the the Ultimate Warrior, and was it Sting? The white mask Sting, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and we'd watch it all whenever we could. But yeah, like the Undertaker, God, I remember him showing up one day. Stone Cold Steve Austin, yeah.
Just as long as the Undertaker doesn't show up at the house.
Yeah.
Keep him in the TV.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow. So the cool shots of you doing your thing.
Oh yeah, man. That was Jake's Road right there. I think that's Mike Kennedy, who's a huge prominent DP here in town. The show is DP'd by a gentleman by the name of Nathan Tate, or Nate Tate, who's a great writer and director in his own right. We continue to work together. He's absolutely great. Keep an eye out for him. He works on all sorts of shows here. Super great guy. Extremely talented. Yeah.
What's the genre that really speaks to you the most? Do you like drama, thriller, comedy, or you love it all? Whatever is coming your way, you'll work with it.
I love it all. I love to read fantasy. I'm a big fantasy reader. But as far as like film and television, I really just love it all. It really just depends on the mood. I don't think I've ever met something I don't really go, it's not super for me. I tend to write things that are a little more gritty, kind of darker and grittier. I'm not really sure why, because I love comedy. And I like to write comedy, like big absurd comedy. I love to do it. But really it's just about the show or project to me. If it sounds so artsy, but if I get a script and I connect with the material and I understand what the vision is, or even if I don't quite understand, but I kind of see where you're going, I'm all in. I want to be a part of it, no matter what it is. I want to be there, be on set. I want to help. I want to figure it out, and I just love it all. So you can't really pin me into one thing. I don't like to be pinned in like that. I want to do whatever opportunities presents itself, and if I can help and if I can key in, I'm all about it. 100%.
Been in a lot of things. I want to let the folks know. The Dead Will Tell, the TV movie, Dukes of Hazzard as reporter number 2. Hello, Sister. Goodbye, Life, Deadliest Warrior. Also, Pregnancy Pact, The Terror Experiment, Vampires Suck, Terror Trap, Journey to Promethea, Good Night, Breaking Roses, Mardi Gras Spring Break. Well, you're near New Orleans. You have to be in that one. Yeah. You have to. Things We Do for Love, Common Law, Universal Soldier, Day of Reckoning, The Walking Dead, G.I. Joe, Retaliation, The Bagman, The Historian, Occult, Scream, the TV series, The Astronaut Wives Club, Re-Kill, A Horse for Christmas, NCIS. New Orleans, Wild Bill Hickok, Sweet Justice, LBJ, Queen Sugar, Query, Carter and June, Preacher. It's unbelievable. A Righteous Man, The Domestics, The Purge, Bronx, SIU, Judge Road, The Dinner Party, Queen of the South, Leverage, Redemption, Demagogue, as well as Secrets of Sulphur Springs. We Have a Ghost. A Horse Divided. Now you see he doesn't sleep, folks. Premeditated, Wellwood, and of course The Madness of David Judge. That's quite a bit.
It's a few. It's been a few. Each one kind of builds on the next, which kind of builds on the next, and builds on the next, and you turn around and suddenly you've got all these credits, which you didn't quite think that would ever really happen.
Would happen, exactly right, and I'm sure the family's proud and they're excited. You didn't do the lawyer or the construction thing, but doesn't mean you can't play one on TV.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
What do you see for the future? What are some other things? What are you working on now? I know you're working. There's a Christmas movie coming out, right, or something you were involved in.
We were pinning at Christmas some holiday ideas, but that didn't really manifest. Which is fine. You pin it, you take a swing, and sometimes they hit and sometimes they don't.
I guess you got to call the Hallmark Network, right?
Yeah. Hey, Hallmark, hit me up.
Hallmark, Lifetime. Yeah.
What I'm really excited about right now is we're still out there pushing David Judge, because it's I feel like it's just getting started. I have a TV show called Reno that I finished pinning not too long ago, and it's being shopped around. And I'm hoping in the next few months I'm going to hear something about that. It's a kind of a dark comedy about mobsters out in Reno, which would be fun. And then I'm pinning what might end up being, I'm not really sure yet, might end up being my next indie film. It's a little departure from David Judge and things like that. It's a gritty, like most of the things I tend to write. Sort of just gosh, I don't know how to describe it, because I'm still sort of in the middle of writing it. It's about a guy who's a little older in life, that something when he was a kid happened to him and he never really got over it. And it's kind of about how you carry trauma through your life, and the realization that one day you wake up and you've been living your whole life with this painful memory, but now what? Because I'm on the other side of my life now, and I'm looking down the road and I don't have that many years left. So how do I let go without being too bitter and move forward? And so that's a script I'm working on right now, and still trying to find my way a little bit with it,
So you like material that really, ponders life and leaves people feeling like there's questions, and maybe they're taking a look at their own lives. You like things that have a purpose and meaning. Yeah.
And maybe it's because I'm always sort of questioning, like, what is not the purpose, but what's the meaning of this? What's the deeper meaning? Where am I going? Where are we going? And I think I like to infuse that in with my storytelling a little bit, that it's not the destination, it really is the journey. We all want to end up in a good place, and we all want to end up in a place where we're happy and we're content, but the path from there is not a straight line. It's going to take you all over the place, and there's course corrections, and sometimes you can look back and go, you're so far away from where you feel you want to be, and how do you take steps to get towards that. And sometimes you stand around like me, and I'm like, God, man, the TV series on Tubi just came out where we're talking about all these great things, A House Divided and Bronx SIU, and I'm just so happy, I'm just filled with joy, because I've got to live out my childhood dream, and I recognize that not everybody gets to do that sort of thing, and I've been really fortunate.
Look at that cool shot.
Oh man, yeah, that was on Rekill. That was a fun project. That was zombies. That we were playing officers that were investigating a disturbance, and it turns out it was a giant zombie horde. We all got eaten. But yeah, that was a good one. Yeah. Just a day's work, just a day in the life,
Exactly. This is a cool shot too.
Oh man, that was a headshot, one of the first headshots. Boy, yeah. Aged me back when I was young and handsome.
Like, welcome to New Orleans. Let me show you around my city.
Yeah, come on and hang out. That was by an amazing photographer, David Zhao, who's a friend of mine today. This was taken back in like 2007-ish, maybe. When
Still
I
look the
first,
same.
oh, thank
Look,
you.
you look the same. What are you talking about?
But it was when I first moved out to Los Angeles. It was some of the first headshots I ever got right there.
Well, I know if I ever have a problem with anything, I know who to call.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, take care of it right there. Yeah.
Do you still do any of that on the side, or
Not as much as I used to. I still have all the skills, and whenever I get the opportunity with somebody, I will. I stepped into some broadsword fencing, like HEMA style, sport style fencing, not too long ago, but haven't had the opportunity to get back into it, and I will. It's on my list, but I love it. Anytime I get the chance to do some sword fighting, I absolutely love it. It's a big passion of mine.
you got a great website too. It's basically yourname.com with some really cool things and some trailers and photos and following the career along the way, huh?
It probably needs to be updated a little bit, but yeah, Mike Mayhall.
That's what happens when you're so busy doing it. You could update it like daily.
Yeah, I probably could. And I put that out there as sort of just a calling card to people. So if they want to look at me as a director, they can kind of get a glimpse of what I can do. And at the same time, I could feel so sort of like, oh, arrogant, like, here, look at everything that I've done. But at the same time, like we were talking about earlier, if you don't tell people, right, if you don't show them like where you were and what you've done, then it's hard to get to the next spot, the next thing, because it's really easy to see a trailer and go, oh, okay, I can see how you did it and whatnot have you.
Now, if they want to know what you did, all they have to do is watch this episode of the Jim Masters Show archived.
Yeah, the Jim sure.
It's all here and then some, right?
Yeah.
So you're in a sweet spot. You're loving it, giving it your all. It's crazy. It's not predictable, and you never know what's going on. It's got ups and downs, but you wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't the love of it and creation and the craft and all the things that come, and working with others who have a similar mindset and making the magic, right?
Making the magic. I mean, from being in this business, it's too hard not to love it. You got to have a passion for it. Yeah.
Sometimes you do divorce yourself or try to, and it keeps calling you back. It goes right back in. Stop fooling. Come on. Yeah. Who are you fooling? Who are you kidding?
And you just go running. You're like, okay, I'm sorry. Please take me back.
How many times are you home watching a TV show or something with family or friends around you, and they're watching it for the show itself, but you're looking at the camera angles and the jib camera swooping in, and maybe the helicopter they used, or just different things, or the underscoring of the music. You're looking at it with that eye, like I do too. I will say, hey, did you catch the way that the camera swooped in? They're like, no, I was looking at when he was kissing her. Like, you didn't see the way the camera swooped in?
How do they make that shot happen? It's too big. I do. In one way, I am like the most forgiving audience member ever, because I understand how difficult it is to get something up and on television or in a movie theater, and how hard it is to get to that shot. Everybody shows up for the day on set, and you're all there to get that one shot, right? That's what you're there for, and it can take hours and hours and hours to get to it. So I'm like super forgiving, and then at the same time, I'm watching that amazing camera shot come around, and it stitches together in a way I can't quite see or understand. So we go from this huge aerial shot to this, suddenly a steady cam shot, which then feels like it's on a dolly. And like, how did they do that? And if I have the remote in my hand, I'm rewinding it. I feel like I should start making a list of all the cool shots and directors that I like. Or in the TV shows that I watch, because TV to me has become so theatrical.
Yeah, it has. Yeah,
it's just beautiful. It's film. Like I try to film.
We film, yeah.
Yeah, we shot David Judge like a film. We didn't shoot it like a traditional TV show. I wanted it to feel as cinematic as it possibly could. Long lingering shots, giant, vast, wide shots that come in and come in and come in, but you just get the feel of the whole world around. You're not just locked into one frame or point of view. It's big sweeping shots.
It's got that quality. Exactly. It really, really does.
So yeah, and I get just as lost in an acting or a good monologue. You know, I just love a performer that's just leaving it all on the floor there, right? And no matter what, crying, angry, upset, whatever it is, you know, I just love watching it. I'm just a big fan. I just am. I really, really am just a fan.
Well, that's the cool thing too, is right. There's a business side of it. It is show business, but you're as much a fan, like I am, as you are somebody who's doing it. And that's a great way to be, because then it won't always be when there are times when it's not perfect or not great, or times are tough or things are happening. The love of it is what rises up to get you through those crazier times, right?
Yeah, well said. Well said. Love of it rises up. I like that.
It's what it is. Write it down.
Thank you. Yeah.
Do a mini series out of that.
I will.
We'll call it Levity, right? Love and levity. That's the word, the magic word. This is what are some of those blessings and joys in your life that keep you doing all of this, Mike?
That's a really good question. I think it's earlier we were talking about that you never really know what's going to come around the corner. I think I like as much. It's a love-hate relationship. I love that I'm not quite sure what's coming down the road. It's exciting to me to know that there might be something really amazing right around the other side of the bend. At the same time, it absolutely drives me crazy and insane because I don't know what's coming around the corner. I got reaching way back to the sword fighting when I was in Orlando, Florida. I started a company called Mayhem Productions. And the only reason I started that was because I got hired to write and create a 2-man improv comedy sword fighting show for a festival in Orlando, Florida. But I didn't have a 2-man sword fighting comedy show. And I needed to have a business so I could give them my business number and like all this stuff I didn't understand. So I had to go out and create this. But I did it because what I wanted to do was create projects with my friends. I wanted to work with the people that I loved and who were around me and create projects with them that we could all be proud of and all have a good time with and laugh and put something out there into the world for everybody, because I want the audience to enjoy themselves. I really keep them in mind every time I'm creating something. So that's what keeps me going, is that ultimately I really, 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 when I started buckling down, is because I wanted to create projects with my friends and my buddies and I just snatch them up throughout the years and just drag them all along with me into this crazy world of the madness of David Judge and create projects with them all the time. That's really just what keeps me going. That's it right there, because that's what I want to do.
Because that's what he wants to do. He wanted to dive into that square box in the living room, and he got himself in there, not only as an actor, but also as a director, producer, Emmy-nominated, and theater, film, all of it, and more to come, and online and everything, because there's so many different avenues now too, streaming and all of this as well. This was a great conversation, sir, and really awesome to learn about you and the passion that you have. And, you know, what's amazing too is all this accomplishment, all these wonderful things you do, and you're still there where it all began. You're still there, you know, around the beginnings, the family, you're you know what I mean? That's a cool thing. Like you've done LA and you've done other areas, but here you are doing all this and you're back home. That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It is. It's weird. It's a little weird. But yeah. But I get to venture out, which is great. Come back and, you know, stay grounded. And then
do you have to take the garbage out from mom and mow the lawn for dad later on?
Yeah, I do. In fact, yeah, I should probably, you know, they're going to be wondering what's wrong.
Like, what's happening? Oh, he's a star. He's being interviewed again.
The difference is now is that I go over there in my limo, so that's the one.
The limo, and still have to take the garbage out and mow the lawn.
Still take the garbage out.
Hey, you know what? And you wouldn't change a thing. Who would? I wouldn't. You know. It's good stuff, my friend. Congratulations on everything, and also we really encourage folks to check this out. It's right on Tubi. Tubi
Yeah.
is free, also Amazon Prime as well.
Yeah, it's Tubi, Amazon Prime, and YouTube. It's on Movie Central on YouTube. But I've just been telling everybody to go to Tubi because it's just ridiculously easy.
Yeah, it's just right there. It's on the TV, right? To be or not to be? That's the
Yeah, not
question.
to be.
Good stuff, my friend. A great episode. And you will be back. I always tell all the guests that we keep the porch light on for them. So you are welcome back on the Jim Masters Show anytime you like. Keep us posted on things that are happening. Spread the word about our show. You know, other folks you think would like to pop on and have a free-flowing, unscripted conversation versus an interview. We call these conversations. And congratulations on everything. And come see us again. And hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you.
This has been great. It really has been nice just talking. Next time you got to tell a little bit more about you and what's cooking in your world. I know I've just been yapping on and on. It's probably the actor in me, right? That just, doesn't shut up. But,
no, it's perfect.
It's been great, man. It really has. It really has. Thank you very much for having me.
You're very welcome. You be well, Mike, and keep making that magic, and we'll talk again real soon, okay?
Sounds good. Have a good one.
You too. Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. Mike Mayhall joining us here on the Jim Masters Show. And wow, all these cool things that he's been working on, and very excited about this. Check it out on Tubi, everybody. Again, Tubi, is on the TV. It's easy. If you have one of their voice remotes like we do, you just say Tubi into it and it'll bring you right to Tubi. If you're not sure what it is, it's there. And check this out, Madness of David Judge, and all these other things that we talked about that he's been involved in, and just some really cool things. There he is working with Eric Roberts, who was a guest on our show recently, who's a great guy. He's worked with a lot of cool people, and he's had an opportunity to, celebrate it all. And he's got more to come as an Emmy-nominated filmmaker, director, producer, writer, actor himself. Magical stuff, right? Good story, too. And look for more from Mike. You will see his star continues to rise. And we're excited about having him here on the show. We appreciate his generosity of time. Yours as well, gang. If you enjoyed this episode, well, guess what? We would love it if you gave this episode a thumbs up like on the YouTube channel. That helps us grow. And there's this gentleman named Algorithm. Have you met him? Well, the world is operating according to algorithm. And Al likes when you like, share, comment, and all the rest. We love it too, but Algorithm really loves when you do it. He takes these episodes and booms it out to the rest of the world. So we want to keep Algorithm very, very happy. So give it a like if you enjoyed this and all the episodes you like of the Jim Masters Show, Entertainment, Lifestyle, Celebrity Talk Show series. And also share it on your social media. Thanks to everybody for all the comments and all the love and support and the chat and everything else. And don't forget, when you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, where there's hundreds of episodes you can see archived. This will be archived as well. Click the notification bell so you never miss any of the episodes. You'll always be alerted when we have episodes at all the different times of the day. So like, comment, subscribe, all the rest. That's the homework part. We thank you very much for being a part of the show. It means the world to us, everybody watching, our international audience that we do have around the world as we continue to build together. That's a pleasure to have you here. So for all of us, as I always say, gang, don't forget to love one another, take care of one another, and don't forget to do the very same for yourself. It's really important to do that. Come see us again right here on the Jim Masters Show. We'll be right here waiting for you. Keep that porch light on for you as well. Take care, everybody. Be well, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.